90% of humans don't actually achieve their goals that they set out to achieve. And I think the stat is 92% of New Year's resolutions are dropped by week 3 in the year. And the reason why is because these big goals, these huge shifts, these gigantic shifts are impossible to sustain.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Write Your Outcome. I am so excited to have with me in the studio, not in the studio, but feels like in the studio because Zoom is the next best thing, Katie Mars. And I'm going to read a little bit about her, and we are going to have the most fabulous conversation. And I want you to look for the nuggets that you could take and apply to your own situation and your own life. Katie brings to the table a unique blend of experience and expertise in customer interaction, resilience building, and we all need that, and women's empowerment. She's a celebrated keynote speaker and author, and her journey includes a profound personal story of resilience as a domestic abuse survivor, single mother, and choice maker. And I really want to hit that choice maker because that's where we're going to spend our time today. All of which have fueled her dedication to empowering others. Her TED Talk, which I just watched recently, which is wonderful, The Art of Choice, and her best-selling book, CustomHER, so it's CUSTOM and capital HER, so I like the play on words, CustomHER experience, encapsulate her commitment to inspiring positive, actionable change within the organization she partners with. She believes that how we see the world shapes how we experience it. By taking ownership of our experiences, we can change our circumstances and build a life of lasting happiness and fulfillment. Taking decisive action isn't just about moving forward. It's about honoring yourself and recognizing your own worth. And that's why the now is non-negotiable. We are singing from the same song sheet, girlfriend. So welcome to Write Your Outcome.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and I can't wait to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, so let's just dig right in. Why is now non-negotiable?
Gosh, because all we have is right now. We unfortunately negotiate with our success, our health, our relationships, our business outcomes, whether that's you're working for a corporation, so the money you make, the raises you get, the promotions you receive. We're constantly in this negotiation between you and you. And you're constantly having this conversation between your heart and your head. And what ends up happening is you end up seeing life pass you by and you don't live in the now. So now being non-negotiable is that you act now so that your future self will thank you.
Yeah, oh my God, I love that so much. And how many times when I was younger, I heard all your power is in the now, and I was like, yeah. And then, what really has helped me shift. So I love everything you're saying. You said about your future is how you're feeling right now is going to determine tomorrow, right? Your thoughts today determine your tomorrows, and people don't realize that. So I don't know, let's dig into this a little deeper. How can we make this, usable and, workable for people?
Yeah, we experience about 20,000 moments in our day, but we make about 75,000 little choices every single day. So whether it's, brushing your teeth or what food you're going to, make for dinner or eat or getting out of bed or working out, should I, shouldn't I, raising your hand, should I, we make these 75,000 approximately little choices every single day. So that
I never knew that number. I love that.
Right? We have approximately 75,000 opportunities to make our future selves successful.
So I'm going to ask you, I might be cutting you off. Ooh,
no, it's all good.
But I had a coaching client once who said to me, I just make bad decisions. She's like, I have made bad decisions my whole life. So 75,000, that number really has washed over me. How can someone that says something like that, I've made bad decisions my whole life, where do they start?
Well, there's so many places to start. Because everybody's different. Everybody's mindset is different. The place that you're at in life, we're all different. The best place to start, though, is to become aware that you're making those bad decisions. Because you can't change anything until you're aware of it. You can't pivot in life until you're aware of it. And so I would say just the fact that that coaching client said, I am aware that I make all these bad decisions. Cool. So the next bad decision you're about to make, stop yourself and pivot. Get curious as to why you're making that decision and then rewrite that story and choose to do. And always say, you got to dare to do something different.
I love
Because
that.
to dare is to have enough courage and boldness to do something that you don't normally do. So find that courage and that boldness to step out of fear and into faith and pivot and dare to do differently.
I love
Because
that.
the current path you're on is clearly not the path you want to be on, and nor should it be, because we all want to grow. I mean, I think that if we're not learning and growing, we might as well be dead, right? So if we're not evolving, then why bother? So the path you're on, you can dare to do differently every single moment, but you can't even start until you're aware that you're doing it, until you're open and honest with yourself.
Okay, so I love that. So I want to turn this back to your personal story because I did watch your TED Talk. And I just read your bio, right? Abusive relationship, single mom. When you're in that survival mode, can you give us a little bit of how did you dare to do it differently? What was the smallest step you took, or what was the, I recently read Tina Turner's, something about happiness. The book was so good, but she just started chanting, and the chanting gave her strength. So I'd love you to share some of your story with everyone listening.
Yeah, so I have made so just like your coaching client, I kept making the wrong decisions. I chose the wrong humans to partner with in life. I devalued myself. I thought my self-worth was worthy of, my nervous system. That's what love was that the argument, the fight or flight, that's where I was comfortable. That's where most of us are comfortable, is actually in the victim, woe is me, also in the gap of crap, I call it. So in the
I love that.
excuses,
You're giving me so many good terms here. The gap of crap.
in the excuses we make. So I had made so many bad choices, and the most recent horrible choice I had made was I went from an unloving marriage to a very highly abusive relationship, and I just thought, okay, if I could be better, if I could do things better, then it would be okay. But then I got so far in that I didn't know how to turn back. I gave up my career to take care of our family, and I lost all my money. And so he had me financially strong-held until the day where the rug was pulled out from under me, and he discarded me because I started to open up about the abuse, and he had found out.
You started to talk the truth, speak the truth.
Because I couldn't keep it in anymore. The physical, the emotional, the mental, the sexual, all of the above. It was becoming overwhelming. And so he found out, and he basically discarded me, froze the accounts, told me to go sell my body for groceries because I was good at it. And I have 3 kids, no career, no money, huge rent to pay, which he was paying for because we were together. So all my belongings, I had nothing. And so it was about 4 days, after he discarded me. And let me tell you, for those 4 days, I still made bad choices. I still begged because that was what my nervous system was used to. I was fearful. I was like, please take me back. I'll do anything. I'm sorry. Like it was an incredibly tumultuous 4 days. And I was on the floor on day 4, curled up in a fetal position, bawling my eyes out. And my daughter comes down the stairs, and she slithers, sort of sits right next to me, not saying much of anything, put her arm around me, and she just lets me cry. And then she looks at me and she says, "Mom," and she wipes my tears and puts my face in her little hands and says, "Mom, please don't go back. You're strong enough. He doesn't need you. We need you." And in that moment, I knew that it was time to break generational curses. In that moment, I knew I needed to show up better for my kids, for my daughter. And so that's when I stopped negotiating with not only my future, but their future. and their nervous system and what they think love is and what they think success is and what they allow, what they've seen me to allow, what they would allow in their lives. And I knew I had to stop. And it started, talk about small choices. I mean, I was suicidal. Like, I'd get into a car and I'd be like, if I drove him to oncoming traffic, it would all be over. You know, small choices like brushing your teeth. Like, I got up and brushed my teeth. A little moment. So I went to a women's abused group, which was also a small choice I had to make because I couldn't afford therapy. So I had to go find, stuff that, the government would pay for and that kind of thing. And one woman there had a mantra. And you made me think of this when you mentioned Tina Turner. If I could speak, Tina Turner is only good can come from this situation. So I wrote it out on a piece of paper, and I had like night terrors. I wasn't able to sleep for a very long time, but I'd have that under my pillow and I'd pull it out every time I couldn't sleep, and I'd have these nightmares. I said, only good can come from this situation. And every day I had to choose to make a better choice. So, choose to eat a meal, choose to get in the car and drive them to school, choose to go to therapy, choose to reach out when I wanted to end things and not let that be the way out. Choose to send a cold email or make a cold phone call. I had to choose to go into debt to rebuild my career. I had to, there was just so many little choices every single day that I could have been like, I just went through a lot. I'm too tired. I don't want to do this, right? Like, I had every right to be that person. But
And I love you
being
saying
that
so many
person,
good things. It's a moment. And that's what people don't realize. So, first of all, how brave you are and
oh,
courageous to not even live through it, but share it. Really, thank you.
oh, thank you.
Because a lot of people are probably identifying with you. But
1 in 4 women are in a domestically abusive situations. One woman every 9 seconds experiences violence from her intimate partner, and 77% of us don't say a word.
77%. Yeah. So
Yeah.
your story is helping so many people right now just listening to this. And I love what you say about the small choices. It's the choice to get out of bed, the choice to brush your teeth, the choice to go find help, even if it's government help, right? So that's the thing. People say, I don't have the money. No. There are programs out there for you. The choice, I just have that visual of your daughter with, her face, her hands, your hands in her face. I said that backwards, but you know what I mean? Her hands on your face. But the beauty of these choices is they start to gain momentum.
Yes.
And so when did you feel, and then I almost feel like you're talking, you didn't say it, but I almost felt like something clicked in you when you decided to be the victor, not the victim. Did that happen or?
Oh yeah, I had a friend of mine that reached out to me and she said, well, Katie, you have 2 choices. You can, sit there and wallow, or you can put your big girl panties on and start to kick some butt. And so I had definitely some nudges, some loving nudges from humans around me that I just value so much. But that moment, she helped me, and it was just after my daughter had, given me that enough that push, ignited something in me. She had come to me and said, "Katie, it's time. No more." And this was like 5 days after. And on the 6th day, I started a nonprofit called Ladies Take Control, which is now shifting to Now Rise. It's going to be called Now Rise. But I had my first event for women about 6 weeks after this all had gone down.
Wow.
And
Were you on that trajectory already, or was this totally
no,
new?
brand
I
new.
love it. That's amazing. That's
Brand
divine
new.
timing.
Well, it is, and you talk about also other pivotal moments. I found God in all of this, and I found that whole Holy Spirit and the higher power. And the only the only thing I can attest my strength to is that supernatural energy and power, because without those nudges, without completely surrendering and saying, okay, I'm going to face myself, I'm going to face my darkness, I'm going to face my demons, I'm going to lay it out on the table, and, God, send me where you need me to go. Search me, and he'd already broken me, search me, and then send me. And so it gave me this insane strength that I couldn't even describe.
Oh, I want to stop on that also because this is all what I'm about. Because I always say you don't always control the events in your life, but you get to write the outcome. And for me, that energy of I always say call it what you want, but it's like almost like your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. You are just in that core strength, and an athlete would call it the zone, and a positive psychologist would say you're in flow. But teaching people how to get to that space where you make good decisions, where you feel like you have a foundation under you and you're not like a feather in the wind, but helping people know that every single person has this space inside them. And you talked about, you mentioned in one of your first statements, connecting your head to your heart. So was that part of it? Talk us through what you meant by that statement.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I want to make sure we touch on is also the little pivots, because I think that's extremely important. 90% of humans don't actually achieve their goals that they set out to achieve. And I think the stat is 92% of New Year's resolutions are dropped by week 3 in the year. And the reason why is because these big goals, these huge shifts, these gigantic shifts are impossible to sustain. It's just impossible. So if you look at like a big pendulum swinging, we don't need Newton here to tell us that when a pendulum swings,
Right. It's coming back.
it's coming right back.
Yeah.
So I always say the first, besides being aware, the next step is to pivot, like little baby steps. It might, like to your point, they might seem like you're doing nothing, but it's amounting to something as long as you do them consistently. And so, if you think of an airplane in the air, if it goes 1 degree off course and continues to go in that direction, the airplane's gonna end up on the other side of the world eventually. If you continue to walk the straight line that you're walking and living the life that is comfortable for you, comfortable in your nervous system, but is not necessarily the life you desire, you're going to continue to walk that direction. However, if you pivot just a centimeter to the left, just a centimeter, and you walk that pathway, you're going to go like that, right? Like your old self is going to continue walking forward. Your new self is going to start on a new trajectory. But it's with the smallest movement, not the biggest. And then to go to your question about your head and your heart, what you think, what you say, and how you feel has to all be connected. Otherwise, you're tricking yourself, you're tricking the energy, the universe, you're being confusing. So what you think about yourself is often what you say about yourself, and it is what you believe about yourself. And the idea is that if you want to make better choices, you have to believe something different about yourself. You have to believe that you're worthy of something more. And that's why those affirmations and that chanting actually helps. Like people think it's woo-woo, like it's this, am I going to, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the Superwoman pose where you look in the mirror just before you go on stage and you're
Cuddy, right? What her name was.
Yeah. Right. Like you're channeling this energy. By being in that pose, you're telling yourself you're amazing, you're saying you're amazing, and you're feeling the energy. And when all of that aligns, it's easy to make those pivots.
Yeah. And let me say, so if anyone doesn't know it's like the superhero pose that Cuddy was her last name. Amy Cuddy, is that her name?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Famous TED Talk. And they did research that if you stood with your hands on your hips, picture any Marvel comic advertisement with all the superheroes standing there looking up into space with their hands on their hips. The studies have shown that if you stand like that for, I don't know how many minutes, 5 minutes, you actually, when you walk into a meeting, you go into a room, you take that good energy with you. And your energy is going there before you are. So if you're tired or you're disappointed, that goes with you also. So it's getting yourself in that space, that superwoman space before you're going to do something, which is what you're talking about. So,
yeah, and I think it's important to get into that space every single day. So when and multiple times a day, by the way. So I call it my bookends to my day. And so when I'm working with individuals and businesses, I believe, like you read in my bio, the way you see the world is the way you experience your world, right? So I like to flank my day with positive things. And so in the morning, I won't get out of bed until I'm thinking positively, speaking positively, and feeling positive.
Yes.
And when I get out of bed, it's literally as my feet hit the floor and as I, walk downstairs to do get my lemon water and I do Bible study every morning. So like doing stuff like that, it's thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just feeling and filling myself with gratitude. Then I do my gratitude journal, which is 10 things that I'm grateful for right now, 5 positive I am statements. I decide how I'm going to move my body, and then I like to repeat that at night. So what was the best part of my day? What are 10 things I'm grateful for? And how did I kick ass today? How was
Yes.
I amazing?
And you said, oh, people think it's woo. I mean, I'm in the same field as you, so I practice all those things, which I love. So to anyone listening, if you're thinking this is woo woo, it's not. There is research behind it, and I use the woo woo word also. But I always encourage people to try it on for 30 days. You take what Katie's saying right now, you try it on for 30 days, and you be the judge.
Your life
You
will
tell
change.
me if you can't not be in a good mood if you're in gratitude, if you're in thanks. So really good. Thank you.
Yeah. It's so there's baby steps, and in those 75,000 little choices, you have a choice to see the good or see the bad. You have the choice to walk in fear or walk in faith. And the thing is, you can't feed your history and your destiny at the same time. So you have that choice to, stay in the past or look to the future and live in the now. So it's all little itty bitty choices that they don't have to be huge, gigantic pendulum swings, like tiny pivots, not big leaps.
I love it. And it's non-negotiable. So it's almost, you said something, I'm bouncing all the things you said already. I always say every agreement you make with someone else is an agreement you make first with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you make that agreement that you are going to shift, you are going to move in the direction you want, not, a history or future. And you make those small steps, and it's, you have to be, I always say, you have to be smarter than, wanting the instant result, like the New Year's resolution. When you go to the gym, you don't like walk out of the gym. If everybody, went to the gym and looked in the mirror and said, I look so good, I'm leaving. No, you go to the gym, 5 times a week for the rest of your life. So how did you make the transition from this relationship, from finding the power to leave, and then from helping other people?
Yeah.
To helping other people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I lived it. So I still live now as non-negotiable. Like that's how I live my life. That's how I run my life. That's how my kids live their life. And so I made the transition was easy because I have been able to take myself from the lowest of low, from being pruned down to nothing, to where I am having this conversation with you right now. And it would be almost selfish of me not to share this. So that transition was quite simple. And it started by, I had free master classes. People are hearing me online, and now I'm doing one-on-one coaching. And I bring this mindset shift into business and this energy working just like you into businesses when it comes to the guest experience. Because as a customer experience expert, I know that businesses are negotiating with their revenue, with their customer loyalty and satisfaction, with their culture and turnover on a consistent basis because they don't feel like doing the small little things that need to be done in order to serve a more healthy future in their business. The result you want is on the other side of I don't feel like it.
Love it. So it's almost like you have 2 tracks going, which I love. So I want people to know about your book also. You have a background in customer service, and your book is the CustomHER experience. And again, what I love about all of this, first of all, we need all the teachers we can get. We are in a huge awakening on the planet. The energy is, I always say the energy is moving really fast, and it could spit you out or you could fly with it. So you get to decide, and we need all of us here having these conversations that are so important, for everyone to see, oh, I have more power than I think.
So you have all the power. That's the thing. Yeah. It's all the power. You literally control the outcomes of your life with the thoughts that you have, with the words that you speak, and with the energy that you feel.
And imagine if everyone believed or everyone lived that, right?
Oh,
so
gosh. We'd live in a harmonious world if everybody did that.
That's why we do this, because when people start to realize they're creating their own experience through their beliefs, thoughts, emotions, then they have that tool to use. But when they're not buying into it or they're not, so anyway, that's why we're having these discussions. So tell us about how you bridge that through your customer experience as well.
Yeah, so it is sort of two parallel paths that I'm walking. And the customer experience is, so I have my book, CustomHER Experience, where I've studied the physiological differences between men and women and why women buy versus why men buy. And I help and consult with organizations, primarily in the automotive space right now, that are male dominated, to help them capture the world's most influential consumer, being the woman. And then my next book is actually due to come out in the next month or so, fingers
Oh,
crossed. But with
congratulations.
books and publishing,
Yes.
there's always delays. It's called More Women, More Money. And I draw the business case where when you hire a more gender balanced team, that you are going to create more revenue for yourself. And I outline how that happens. And then I take the employee journey through the woman's eyes. So what do you have to do to create an experience that she wants to be a part of from an employee point of view?
I'm fascinated. Give us some background on this whole, where you got to this research, or give us, I love this whole
Yeah.
thing.
So so this was just shortly after I was discarded, and I, did the cold emails. I made Now Non-Negotiable. I made the cold phone calls. I sent out 150,000 resumes. No, I'm not even joking. Not 150,000, but like 1,500. I literally sent out so many resumes, zero responses. So I'm like, okay, clearly God has another plan for me, and it's not to work for a corporation. So then it was the cold emails for speaking, and the phone calls and the follow-ups. Anyways, finally someone got back to me, and it was the Customer Experience Summit here in Toronto. And so I was asked to speak about not only the female consumer, but how that impacts the female employee. And so I started to go through some research to create that keynote. And I was in a coffee shop. It was my favorite place to work because I like white noise and distraction a little bit. It helps me stay focused. And so I started going down the rabbit hole of, wow, when you have more women, not only as customers, but as employees, you will make more money. And so I spoke about it for the first time just shortly after I was discarded, and it's taken off from there. And they created the book, and now I'm speaking about it on stages all over the place. And it's
can you give us some little juicy nuggets from it, or?
Yeah, well, so by hiring more women, you're actually going to be 21% more profitable.
Wow, that's amazing.
And, the way we communicate, the way we come up with solutions, the way we show empathy, our skill set creates better culture. And exactly, I always say, if a woman doesn't want to work for you, why would a woman want to shop with you?
I love it. Okay. Oh my God, this is so amazing. I hope everyone's listening. I have a lot of corporate clients. I work in a lot of male-dominated industries also. I love my males. I'm not bashing my males. I love you all. But this is really important information to take into account. So anyone listening to me right now, I want you to look at your team. Look at your executive team. One corporation I was recently in, she said to me, the woman said, between me and the top, there's only like one other female, right? There's not. So if you're listening and you look at your team and do you need some more female power on that team, I want you to look up Katie Mars. It's KATIEMARES. And I want you to get that book and hire some women. Oh my God, this is so good. There's so much good information here, and it does parallel. I always thought I was very spiritual, but I was in corporations, and you have the customer service experience and the women experience. And I think that's something women do really well also, is you don't put us in a box. Nobody puts baby in the corner. We can do multiple things and have multiple different things going on because it's almost normal for women to not to juggle, but to be able to shift.
It is. So
what do you think about
So yeah, our brain actually, so there's some major physiological differences between men and women. So the first being that our limbic system, our emotional and memory hub of our brain, is almost double the size of a man's. So the way we feel, and I always joke when I'm on stage and it gets the men laughing, but the gentlemen listening, if you have a wife, a girlfriend, a daughter, a sister, any woman in your life, and she remembers a fight in like grave detail from 5 years ago, and some men
That's
will say,
why.
"You mean 10 years ago?" Well, yeah, I always joke it's not your fault, but it
Yeah.
is your problem because that is the way we are built. But also, we
Yeah.
communicate vastly different. So, men communicate with only logic using one side of their brain, where women communicate using logic and creativity. And so, what that does, to lead to your point, Michelle, is that we have more gray matter and neural pathways that connect the two hemispheres of our brain, logic and creativity, which is why we are able to multitask at such a great level, and we are able to um, juggle more balls, be more creative, is because of the way our brain is actually wired. So it is a strength of a woman, and that's why having more women on your team is extremely valuable.
I love it. And I had a little bit of a interrupt. So I hope this all went well. I had an interrupt on my end when you were speaking. But again, anytime you have a diverse team of people, I love everything. Katie's message is wonderful. And it really does go together because it's really starting with yourself. Are non-negotiable, making decisions that are connecting your head to your heart, that are right for you in this moment. And people think, oh, someday, next week. No, no,
Uh,
no. Are you making
why
good decisions right
now?
now? Yeah. What is your tattoo? I've been curious. I've been looking.
Oh, so
The
this one
other,
or this one? It's
yeah, that
actually,
one. What's it
yeah, it
say?
says pretty girl, and this is actually what my ex used to call me. So it's a nice reminder. So, my daughter asked me actually just the other day, Mom, are you going to get rid of any of your tattoos that you got while you were with him? And I said no, because it's a reminder of where I was and where I'm not anymore.
Yeah. I had a
And
feeling it
I
said non-negotiable, so that's
Oh,
why.
no. Mind you, that's probably a really good tattoo I should be getting. I have several. That'll be my next one.
Yeah, I have a friend who's very successful, and his tattoo is choice. Oh my God, change chance. If you don't take a chance, make a choice. Nothing changes. So it's chance, chase,
Amen.
choice. It's a famous
Yeah,
famous
yeah.
quote. So, oh my God, this has been wonderful. There is so much information here, and I want you to tell us where people can find you because we have just tipped the iceberg
Oh,
today.
yeah.
She has seminars. Because she does coaching. She has books coming out that you can partake in. And she has her own podcast, I believe.
I
So
do.
tell
Yeah.
us where people can find you.
All right. Well, you can just Google me, Katie Maris, and everything will pop up. However, if you want to know a little bit more of my personal life and how I make non-negotiable a standard in my life, Instagram's the place to find me at Katie Maris. If you want to know everything about customer experience and how we make that guest experience a non-negotiable standard in businesses, that's on LinkedIn. You can check out www.nowisnonnegotiable.com. So I have actually a customer experience summit coming up in October that I'm hosting. And I have it's called the Now Experience membership where I do live weekly trainings. So that's all on the nowisnonnegotiable.com.
What timing? I'm sorry, am I cutting you off? Because
No.
customer service is so important in this day and age where everything's computerized and digitized. And, and if you're not serving external customers, you're serving internal customers.
Correct.
Everybody's your customer.
Yeah.
So really, I really want you to look her up. This is fabulous information. She has so many statistics in her head that she just drops like little pearls of wisdom on us. So thank you. Do you have any last final words of wisdom for us?
Gosh, just someday may not exist, So live in today and give yourself grace. So the one thing is that as you transform, the old version of you comes with you. And so you do need to give yourself grace because that old version of you is the old habits will die hard. But when those old habits pop up, instead of getting upset with yourself and speaking negatively with yourself, I would say celebrate it because that means you're actually changing. That means you're actually transforming. And that old version is trying to get out there, but you're like, nope, I now am going to make those little choices and I'm now not making my life negotiable.
Ah,
and my happiness negotiable.
so, so good. Those final words are pearls. And it's realizing that when you see that old habit, once you see it, you weaken it
Yeah,
and you get
100%.
to make a new choice. So, thank you so much, Katie. This has been so fabulous. I just wish you the best in everything you do.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.